We right back at the top players in NBA history. Counting down from number 60. Hopefully you've been staying up with these lists. I'm down to number 22, in case you was wondering. Now, number 22 on my list is none other than Dwayne Wade. Flash, as Shaq nicknamed him. Dwayne Wade hit the league by storm back when he was drafted in 03, coming out of Marquette, where I really saw the potential in him at Marquette. Thought he was a cold dog in that NCAA tournament his last year at Marquette. And he came into the pros and went right to work. Was NBA ready right off the bat. Standing at only 6'4", Dwayne Wade wasn't a guy who played like he was 6'4". I mean, to me, he played like he was about 6'6", 6'7". But undersized at the two guard, really, when you think about it. But he could put his back to the basket, give you post work, take you off the dribble, had an explosive first step. And that's where we get that flash from. If he had a weakness, it was the outside jumper. Not very crisp, but he could get a bucket one way or another. Work his way through screens like nobody's other. He could use a pick viciously. And people will attest in the league to trying to get D Wade when he set you up off of a pick and he slithered through to the basket. He was good at finishing all types of ways. He'd dunk it on your head, get fouled, go to the ground, tough layup. You name it, he could do it. And he had that killer in him, that killer instinct. Seen no more than when we saw him in the NBA Finals in 2006. Had one of the greatest performances in NBA Finals history. He was a dog. Now, throughout his career, to me, D Wade is probably, he's a top 5 shooting guard, no question. If you don't got him in your top 5 shooting guards all the time, then I'm questioning it. But I'm not sure. A lot of people have him number 3. He might not be 3 for me, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But I respect the putting him number 3. For me, he's number 4. And he played both ends of the floor. 8-time All-NBA standout. Made the defensive All-NBA team 3 times. He was good at stealing the ball. He was good at blocking shots for a guy only 6'4". D Wade just had the total package. He was never quite, in my opinion, the just unquestioned true number 1 on a championship team, even though he was Finals MVP that year. I remember Shaq coming and guaranteeing a championship. At that point in time, there was an argument, was Shaq the best player in the league anymore, but he had spent many years being the best player in the league, and he was still demanding a double team, which helped D Wade a lot and allowed him to flourish. Throughout those playoffs, Shaq was drawing a lot of attention in 06, and D Wade took it and ran with it in those finals. But I felt like they had kind of a co-partnership in who was the main person on the team, even though D Wade scored the most of the points. But anyway, we can say he was the number 1 player on that team because I think he deserves it. But you just can't discount Shaq's value on that team. And then when he played with LeBron James, obviously LeBron James was the number 1 player on that team. That's where he got his other 2 championships. So D-Wade contributed. It's not like his championships don't count because he wasn't the man with LeBron or something like that, because he was a cold dog. But at the same time, it hits a little different, which is why he's not a little lower on my list. Still at 22, which says a lot. Now, at number 21 on my list is the guy I have over him, that being over D Wade, as the 3rd best shooting guard of all time, the most undersized shooting guard of all time, the pound for pound best player maybe in league history, arguably, Bubba Chuck, as he's affectionately called by folks that know him closely. Allen Iverson, the answer. One of the greatest athletes to ever come through basketball. Maybe my favorite player of all time, to be honest with you. So maybe I'm biased when I say he's number 3 all time. But let's remember who he was. He was a cold animal. Talked about the killer instinct that D-Wade had. He had that too. He got a lot of flack for the whole practice thing, but he left it all out on the floor all the time. If they didn't tell you he wasn't practicing, you wouldn't have known it from watching him play. Let me tell you. And it's not that he wasn't practicing at all, but the way that was harped on in his career, you couldn't see it watching the man hoop. Maybe the fastest dude I've seen with a basketball in his hand. Since then, you got guys like Westbrook and John Wall, Derrick Rose, other people, De'Aaron Fox, who they talk about being fast. Allen Iverson, even if he didn't look it at times, he was just moving at a different pace than everyone else. And even though he didn't dunk it on you all the time in the league, you had to see that in college and earlier, he could get up. First step, baseline to baseline speed. They outlawed the man's crossover because it was too deadly, and then brought it back once he wasn't doing it no more. If they had let him do that, he might have led the league in scoring 7 or 8 times as opposed to just 4 times. But he still found ways to get to his bag, which wasn't much in a lot of options. It's not like he had a Kyrie type of ball handle. He had handle, some of the best. But his speed and first step is what made him so dangerous. And that hezzy guitar he used to do with the way he would get you up on his hesitation because he was so fast. And you had to honor it. That crossover he learned from the area I'm born and raised in, that DC PG County area. So Allen Iverson, a 7-time All-NBA stud, led the league in steals 3 times, 4-time scoring champion, and a league MVP, who led the Philadelphia 76ers to a title with one of the, he wouldn't like it if you say one of the worst teams, but in terms of scoring, they were a lockdown defending team, but in terms of scoring, didn't really have a lot. Allen Iverson, when he got doubled and tripled, there wasn't a lot of guys to kick it to, and you could count on to knock down a bucket. But they could lock down, and they played hard-nosed and gave it to Allen to get it done, which it wasn't enough. If he had played with another superstar in his career, I could see him with more titles. I could see him with titles because he didn't win any. But I could see him with 2, 3 titles if he played with somebody else before the game caught up to him just because of his size and weight and everything. He kind of wasn't able to play but for so long. But he's my number 21. Love Allen Iverson for sure. Cold dog. Number 20 on my list is the Claw. A lot of people might not expect him to be this low. I had to think about it, but Kawhi Leonard, man, one of the best at his position all time. One of the best two-way players all time. 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time champion. That run with the Toronto Raptors was spectacular, but he held it down in San Antonio before he even went to Toronto. He's one of the best wing defenders of all time. A 6-time All-NBA standout, but a 7-time defensive standout on the All-NBA team. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. But Kawhi Leonard's game evolved over the years, and that's why he's so low on my list. He went from just a lockdown defender who was kind of a utility guy to a straight-up number 1 option best player on a championship team. A poor man's Kobe Bryant, if you will, or Michael Jordan. And I say that affectionately because that's how much of dogs they were. But Kawhi, man, he puts you on his hip, fade away either direction, potent mid-range jump shot, and can hit the 3. Can't foul him, he hits those 2. Will lock up your best player, whether it's a point guard or a power forward. And he could get you into your set in a pinch if you need him to. But he's more better off the ball and just getting to his bag. But Kawhi Leonard, he don't say a lot, but he shows a lot on the court. One of the greats, gotta honor him. Kudos to Kawhi Leonard, my number 20 player in the top 60 of all time. All right, that's all the time I got. Y'all know what it is, and you know who you looking for. JHEATsportsmedia. And I'm coming at y'all with that fire as always. Make sure you subscribe and find me on YouTube, Instagram, X, and TikTok.